Call the regular board meeting to order.
Sorry, my hand a little strong. We'll start with the board member roll call. Jenna Reichenbach.
Here.
Tyler Linton.
Here.
Heidi Winterview. Here. Grace Whitman. Here. And Bryce Rodriguez is here. And we'll stand to pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Astoria School Board's vision statement is our vision is to strive for a learning environment that partners with the community to fully prepare lifelong learners to thrive in a complex world. Our mission statement is to engage with students, families, staff, and community members as we provide accessible, relevant, and meaningful education experiences. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. To be more efficient and accommodating to the large amount of group of people we have today and public comments, I'd like to ask for a motion from the board to move the public comment section of the agenda from item 4 to item 2.
I move to amend the agenda to move public comment from item number 4 to number 2.
I'll second. Or all. Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. We will start by the order these were received, and our first intent to speak is, oh, I got the generator, sorry, forgot. At this time, I'd like to invite any member of the audience that submitted a public comment to prepare to speak with comments about items of interest or concerns this evening. Patrons were asked to submit public comment prior to the meeting. We will take comment in the order received. Please begin by stating your name, and if you live in the school district, it would be appreciated if you limit your comments to 3 minutes so that we can keep the meeting moving in a timely fashion and allow others the opportunity to speak. We ask that you remember that the Oregon law prohibits us from discussing specific employees or their job performance. Thank you for supporting the Astoria School District. All right, first person on is Adam Swinton. Right here. Oh.
Adam Swenson, 33411 Highway 101 Business, Astoria.
Just so you know before, so I have a camera on. If you get there, it'll make a noise that's aggressive. Don't be scared.
I'll rewrite that. Hi, my name is Adam Swenson. I'm a parent of a freshman and a junior at Astoria High School. I'm also the Astoria Girls Assistant Softball Coach. During the softball season, I had the opportunity to work with Coach Keith Silva when she joined the softball staff. I saw firsthand that she's a great coach, and I'm here today to ask that the decision to let Teague go as the girls varsity basketball coach be reconsidered. Teague goes above and beyond when it comes to the girls basketball programs, starting with their annual casino night fundraiser. The money raised from this event not only funds the entire high school program, but also funds the Youth Astoria Girls Basketball Club. This year I coached the 8th grade youth team and saw incredible improvement and excitement from the girls to become Astoria High School basketball players. This team, like all the others, was funded by Astoria Girls Basketball Club, a 501c3 created by Teague. With this nonprofit, she funded uniforms for all 5th through 8th grade travel teams, funded all tournaments for 5th through 8th grade travel teams, paid for all teams to participate in the state tournament, purchased sweatshirts for all 4th through 6th grade Parks and Rec basketball teams. For years, youth coaches have talked about building a program just like this, but no one ever made it happen. It took 2 years. I'm worried the decision to let Coach Silva go not only affects the high school, but also puts a stop to this successful youth program. I don't see another coach being able to take on all of this. Without Teague, we don't have a leader, and without a leader, we don't have a program. Her leadership skills and ability to get stuff done is unlike anything I've ever seen from a coach. I want to keep this short, but I printed out a list of some of the things Team Kids provided for the Astoria basketball program for the high school and youth. This was made by some of the parents and kids. She spends countless hours organizing weekly team dinners, painting parties, team retreats, holiday parties, media days, involving the girls in community service, and much more. If it's okay, I would like to give everyone a copy of this list and ask that you read it over. And again, that this decision to dismiss Coach Silva is reconsidered. Have some conversations, please. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. Okay, next is Kaisa Whitsett. Sorry if I butcher any last names. Okay.
My name is Kaisa Whitsett. Hello, other members of the community. My name is Kaisa Whitsett. I'm here today to share my experience as an athlete in the girls' basketball program as well as softball program. This last year, I was a freshman transfer student. I transferred to Astoria about halfway through the year, and I was feeling very overwhelmed, scared, and anxious. Then, adding an attempt to play basketball with the team midway through the season seemed unachievable. I was relieved to be welcomed into the basketball program by the coaching staff and current players. After my first week, Coach Silva and I had a meeting, and the first thing she asked me was, "How are you doing, and how are you adjusting?" We talked, and she laid out a 4-year plan for me in her program. We ended the conversation with her saying, "I would like to keep an open communication with you, and you can always talk to me." I left the meeting feeling a sense of belonging and that I had someone in my corner and they just wanted to see me thrive and succeed. Throughout the season, there were many ups and downs as well as injuries, but Coach Silva maintained a strong team culture. At the end of the season, I had regained my love of basketball, and I had confidence in my place in the program. Playing for Coach Silva, I learned to build my athletic mindset, including my coachability, endurance, and discipline. As you all know, the softball program just won the state championship this last year, and I was blessed to be a part of that team. Coach Silva was an assistant coach and our #1 hype man. She kept us fired in the dugout and in check. Coach Silva often worked with the outfielders, and as I was a starting left fielder, I benefited greatly from the consistent reps and feedback. Also, as a freshman, I didn't get many at-bats, but Coach Silva was always advocating for me, which made me feel seen as an athlete. I believe it took every single player and coach to accomplish winning that state championship, and I believe together we can do it again. We needed our Coach Silva. I'll never forget the hug she gave me after the state game. She told me how proud she was of me and how happy she was that I transferred. I accomplished big things this year. I transferred, I maintained a 4.0 in my scholastics, received a varsity letter in basketball, varsity letter in softball, and helped win a state championship. Coach Silva has a huge positive impact on my life and has taught me many life skills. It would be such a disservice to our younger female athletes if they couldn't have Coach Silva as a coach. So thank you, Coach Silva, for your support, encouragement, and belief in me. Thank you.
Can you state whether you live in the district?
Oh, sorry. I live in 130 Southeast Canyon.
Thank you. All right. With that, we will move on to Mallory Dundas.
Hello, I'm Mallory Dundas, 35003 Highway 166. Once again, I'm Mallory, and I was a senior this past season on the Astoria girls basketball team. Basketball was never something that really came easy to me because of my intense struggles with anxiety that caused me countless restless nights and impacted performance. But these past few years, I had the opportunity to play for a coach that understood my struggles. Every good coach has expectations and holds kids accountable. And I'm not going to pretend that there were not bumps along the way with my relationship with Coach Silva, but what I can say for sure is that she was there to tell me that she could see what I was going through while still holding me to a standard. In fact, it was refreshing to have a coach who could tell me straight up that I was not playing as well as I can than one who would pull me from the game with no explanation. This year, I truly learned so much, like the fact that I'm simply not meant to be a vocal leader and I'm much more fit to lead by example. That sometimes unexpected changes happen, but you have to be ready to step up. And Silva helps me during this illness. Silva also has inspired me as she has proved to me time and time again that a woman's value should not be overlooked in sports, whether it be coaching or on the court. Many still can't handle that a woman can be passionate and frustrated and someone who won't back down. The hours that Coach Silva put into the program very likely outnumber those of any other coach in the school, watching game film, creating strategies, fundraising, and just thinking of us. The fundraiser in particular takes a lot of time, but is well paid off. We ate before each game, we were able to go on trips, and just never had to worry about the money. All kids deserve equal opportunities despite their financial situation, and Coach is always ready to make sure to provide for every kid and take the money aspect from the equation completely. I think the program and school will really miss having Silva around, and I really wish we had some solid, conclusive reasoning and answers to why she cannot return. Thank you.
Okay, Brooklyn Avalon.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn Avalon, and I attend Astoria High School. I am proud to say that I am also a member of the Astoria girls basketball program. I'm here to share how sad and disappointed I am about the recent decision to remove Coach Silva from her role as head girls basketball coach. This decision is affecting our team. One of the reasons I chose to attend school in this district was not only because of its strong academic reputation, but also for the girls basketball program. I was excited about the opportunity to grow in both the classroom and on the court, especially getting to play under the leadership of Coach Silva. Coach Silva has made a huge impact on both me and my teammates. She helps us become stronger and more confident in our everyday lives. Her support goes beyond the basketball court. She organizes all of our fundraising events, arranges team meals before every game, manages our summer ball schedule, and even writes personal note cards for each of us before every game. Her cards encourage us. They remind us that we matter and that she believes in us. She gives us so much of her own time to make sure we are prepared, that we know she supports us, and that we are never forgotten. Coach Silva didn't just help us become better basketball players. She brought us together and made us feel like a family. Our expectations might be high, but that just makes her a strong leader. She pushes us to be the best we can be because she believes in us. She knows our potential, and she won't let us settle for less. She taught us how to trust each other, how to work as a team, and to show up every single day because it matters. Her leadership has made the Astoria girls basketball program what it is. I hope you can take into consideration how much Coach Silva matters to us and our team. She is so much more than a coach. She is a role model. She is someone who is always there for us, and she is someone who cares about our personal growth both on and off the court. I hope you can reconsider your decision. Thanks.
Please state whether you live in the district. 354 Main Street. Great. Next is Caitlin Arnadez. Barnstein. Bound to hash.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Barnsley. I'm going through my senior year at Astoria High School. I'm here to address the release of my high school basketball coach. I would like to share my experience from the past 2 years where I got to have Coach Silva as my coach. Within these 2 seasons, my coach and I grew so much. We did not start with the best, but I grew to respect her to the point that I asked her to be my mentor for my senior project. Coach did so much for us through the fundraisers, coaching, setting up hard schedules to play the best to get better, and team bonding activities. She was one of the well-rounded coaches. Coaching was just not in her mind, coaching was not just in her mind, but also making sure we were fed before and after every game. She gave us Christmas presents at Christmas time and made each and every girl heard on the team. She cared so much about everyone. One of my favorite things before every game was receiving a card before I went to play. On the card was something to have a goal about for the game and something positive that I have been doing good. She is one of the most caring and involved coaches, not just in our program, but even down to the youth. She made sure there was tournaments for Astoria Girls Basketball Club youth teams and went to their games. They got them uniforms and hoodies. She even brought them to be our water girls at games that got them really interested and excited to play in high school. I think everyone has ups and downs with a coach, and you learn to persevere through them. My parents have always taught me to face adversity and find the positive that comes with it, because others, including adults, don't have this perspective. I think there's a lot of unnecessary drama that has divided our team because of this, to say the least. It is pretty disheartening that I'm potentially going onto my third coach, and not one person has asked me about my opinion. As a senior, I was looking forward to the season with Coach Silva. She has become someone that I can trust and someone that I'll always be honest with. She pushed me to be better and helped me do things that I didn't even know I could do. She was so open to ideas, what the girls wanted, from team shoes, dorm shirts, and so much more. It's hard for me to come back and play with a positive attitude and become a leader to people who don't respect tough coaching. All I wanted for my senior season was stability and not to go through what I've already gone through with growing to respect a coach and then they are pushed out. I feel like this is becoming the norm for our girls basketball program, and it's sad. I was there for all the team talks, all the team meetings, all the practices, all the things that go on during the season. I never felt like our coach should be not our coach. She grew with us as any person should. No one is perfect, and as a leader, to see her grow in our relationship is exactly what I've been taught my whole life. Always be willing to grow and learn no matter how old you are or what position you hold. Thank you.
State whether you live in the district.
42901 on Crystal Park.
Next person is Neil. Sorry, I can't read your last name. Okay.
Okay, pretty good. My daughter Valerie at the end there. My name's Neil Lendis, 35003 Highway 26, Seaside. I just want to tell you that I'm really disappointed in the leadership at Astoria High School, in the athletic department, and overall. We got a girl that Adam kind of took everything that I wanted to say, that did one thing after another with these girls. And is she still young? And she's got a strong heart. She wants to do the right things. Where was the leadership? If it's about dealing with problems with management, why isn't anyone there trying to work it out? I asked my daughter, I said, you ever see anybody in the gym watching the practices, saying, hey, what's going on in here? Are you doing your job correctly? There's nothing. So, and when you get that list of things that she accomplished in 2 short years of time, you gotta look at that and go, if she's doing her job. If it's personality complex, you gotta sit down and look at it. And you can't just cut bait or mud. So I think Teague is a great coach. Does she have some learning to do? Probably. Do we all? Yes. But you gotta work things out and just cut bait and learn, not confidence. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next person, Tiki Silva. TK. Tiki Karen. Where's the?
First of all, I just want to thank everyone who is here today in support of me. I know not all of you are here to speak, but many of you have sent text messages, picked up the phone and called me, or wrote letters on my behalf. And your presence here today is incredibly humbling. I can't thank you enough for your continued support of me. Also, I'm Teague Silva, 841 2nd Avenue, Seaside. I want to be clear that I'm not here today to beg for my job back. At the end of the day, a decision was made to remove me as the head girls basketball coach, and that decision was made by high school and district administration, who, in their own words, have found me difficult to work with. More importantly, that decision was made without any consideration of how it would affect this program as a whole, and with complete and total disregard of how it impacts kids in this very room. 2 years ago, we set out on a mission to build a strong K-12 girls basketball program in Astoria. I won't recount everything this program has done because Many of you have already done that today, and it looks like you guys have an outlined version of that. What I will say is that every decision I have ever made as the leader of this program was made in an effort to give these young ladies the best experience possible. Every decision I've ever made on behalf of this program was made to emphasize the importance of our female athletes, to highlight their successes, to give them a voice, and to fight for the support of them at all costs. Well, that fight has cost me, and that fight has cost them. Excuse me. For the last 2 years, every single decision For the last 2 years, every single decision that I've made for the betterment of this program has been criticized and attacked by the people who were supposed to support me. From running the biggest and most successful fundraiser of any sports program at Astoria High School, to begging for the girls' basketball bus to be on time to away games, to ordering team shoes to ease the burden for those families in our program who may not be able to afford shoes every year, to providing pre- and post-game meals at no additional expense to our families so that kids are fueled properly, to organizing team dinners and outings, to pleading for Ruger buses for the state tournament so that students can attend, to funding over 200 shirts for that student section, to fully funding and painting the high school gym. Every single one of those things was challenged and scrutinized by the people who were supposed to support me. So perhaps these people do find Coach Silva difficult to work with. After all, they don't have to work with many female head coaches on the athletic side of things. Perhaps having a strong female head coach who challenges the status quo and strives to break that glass ceiling for both herself and her athletes is just more than they can withstand. The decision to remove me as the head girls basketball coach was made, and I quote, due to my inability to work collaboratively with the high school administration and staff. Did anyone happen to hear in that last sentence that this decision was made because it was in the best interest of kids? These girls, these families, and this community deserve better. Does the experience I have provided over the last 2 years not meet the standard? And if not, then what is the standard? I hope you all continue to search for answers to the mystery of why Coach Silva is no longer here. But more importantly, I hope that moving forward, regardless of whoever may end up leading this program, that the people in charge start doing what is right by these kids, because they are the ones suffering the consequences of this short-sighted decision. Thank you.
All right, and that's the end of our patron comments.
So can I say something?
Please do.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm sorry I can't be there. But I put a lot of time and effort into thinking about this, and I want to share some things with the group, partly because this is a personnel issue that can't be discussed openly. But I just have a short statement to make sure that I was concise and to share everything that I wanted to. And I end it with discussion around parents and students that I want to continue to have. So I want to thank everybody who spoke tonight, who also met with me or sent us emails. This has been a difficult decision and a difficult, very, very difficult situation. But because it is a personnel matter, the board and I are legally unable to discuss it publicly, and that's hard for us. As we move forward, I encourage you to contact me directly with any questions or concerns, as I am the one who deals with the personnel issues within the school district. I am more than willing to discuss what I can with parents or students or anybody for that matter. But I do really appreciate the feedback that I've received over the last 3 or 4 weeks and tonight. So thank you for that. That means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to the board. So that's all I have.
Okay, with that, we will move on to item 2 on our regular board meeting, which is the consent agenda. This is an action item.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Item 3 on our item are reports. Start with administrator reports.
So at Los Park Elementary, we have been busy working on the building. We, as in the custodians and the maintenance crew and everybody. So I just want to give a big shout out to Kevin Miller and to Daniel Bermudez, who've been there all summer. The floors look great. The classrooms are coming together. We've had like 6 classroom moves. So it was a lot for them, but they've done an amazing job and have really great attitudes. I really appreciate it. And then if you haven't seen already, our playground is looking amazing. I'm so excited. I walked by and there's 8 swings up, ready to go for the kids. And so big shout out to Billy, Eddie, to Mike Tomlinson, to Matt Walden as well. So they've been out there working hard, and it's going to be such a great use. So thank you.
So much as Hugo stated, we have been cleaning, polishing, scrubbing. Today, it was out there with the extension, illustrating the exterior of the building to get all the cobwebs off. So big thank you to my custodial staff and to Billy and his crew. The work that's being done is amazing. They care for the buildings, the facilities, and it makes it so nice. At the middle school, we've been running summer school in more detail, but it's been so fun to see the kids and the programs that they did. I don't remember what it's called, but when you take the fish, you feed, you do the prints, it's just been really cool. And then I'm gonna let you finish up with the high school program, but I will say, when we started this together in 2010, up until now, I think this is our most successful summer program for our transitioning 8th graders to high school. And I will tell you, we have 35 students go through.
So we continue to have the Astoria High School with the Astoria Middle School Bridges program to get a front load start for that incoming freshman class. As Principal Brett just mentioned, we had 31 students enrolled in that this year, and all of them are on track to successfully complete their health class. And then there's also a new graduation requirement for college and career readiness. And so they are completing about 9 of those 14 standards. They'll take another class their junior year that will take care of those remaining 5 standards. So they're starting off their high school career very, very well. Since we last met as a board and a group, we have had additional graduates with the class of 2025. And so we are now up to 161 completers. 158 of those are deemed to be graduates. That is a 94% graduation rate for those students in that course. I believe it is the largest graduation class that we have had in numerous decades. So it has been quite a successful completion of the class of 2025. And then finally, we do begin fall sports this upcoming Monday on the 18th. Tomorrow night, we have preparing orientation for cross country, soccer, volleyball, football. So we're excited for what that brings with our check-in orientations beginning for student registration processes to begin on Monday, August 25th.
So I just, this past week completed our second round of scheduled IEP meetings. Learned a lot last year as far as aligning middle school and high school with the actual schedule. That seems pretty obvious now, but didn't think about it last year. And also avoiding, we were able to build into the schedule. So we're going to break up the lunches, and it was a master. And I've talked to most of the principals. They've got a chance to look at it, and I think it's going to be better than it was last year. Like I think it's going to be smoother. We are going to understand the process a bit more. I'm going to try to push out the communication to parents once we kind of get it finalized. The next step in the process is to have teachers look at it, make small tweaks, and then invite gen ed teachers, and then we're kind of ready to go for the entire year, which is pretty exciting. And so yeah.
Lynn was gonna steal mine for a minute. Tomorrow's our last day of summer school. I just wanted to give a shout out to Venus and Candace and Liz, who organized kind of an expanded summer school at the very last minute. The state, gave us the summer rank grant in May. Gave us about 2 weeks to apply for it against get organized, and they have done an amazing job. The summer learning grant allowed us to expand. Normally we had a hybrid summer school for maybe 50 or 60 students from here in Warrenton. And this year we have about 120 just from Astoria. So we have a huge group of students. I brought her name here, Rachel Quinn. She's the assistant director of expanded learning from DE. She came and visited on Tuesday, visited the AMS program and then the British April. She was very impressed. She said she was really hoping to see summer programs that weren't just, really kill and drill, just academic, really able to bring in the enrichment. Really impressed with Mr. Clark and his work with the printing and how he's getting the kids engaged, cooking, and so I just think it's just been an amazing program, and we're looking forward to she's taken a lot of information with regard to legislation and looking to get funding, kind of a predictable funding over the next 4 years, and we can report. Maybe expanded, which is something to start kindergarten. A little highlight was we had Carrie Calvin. She's our Northwest Regional PSD Early Literacy Oregon RTI person that's been kind of involving us with our literacy. She actually took some of her time off in the summer and came and worked in our district this summer. I don't know if you know who Anita Archer is, but she's a big guru of literacy. And Carrie knows her very well. She works with her little group of fifth graders. She was telling Anita Archer about them, and Anita made a video say to the students, naming them by name and talking about, oh, they're not fluency, and here, oh, that's so great. And then the students made a video of their improved fluency and sent it back to her. So I'm gonna get the videos and show them for maybe. So it's really great.
Good evening. We're finishing up our summer feeding program. So far, we served over 4,500 meals this summer between the 6 sites. We finished up some summer projects, thanks to maintenance for getting some other projects done. And then we're just preparing for the upcoming school year that's coming really soon, and the students return.
And transportation's just been running the summer school program. I guess we're getting ready to start sports programs next week. So, and then just planning for the new year. And our building is also nice and clean thanks to the maintenance and Mike Thomas for helping me out get it clean.
We're actually real behind. So apologize if you don't get all your stuff done. Some big stuff we did. We did the park things. We have a zip line. We have a road bridge. They'll call us a balance beach for daughter. and a wall climber that goes into the log structure. So apparently we're good enough. We're gonna do one at the middle school now at some point. We're gonna work on it. Matt's been in the building as well. Mike and I've been out there, now that we're done there. Mike's transitioning and doing some other projects at the middle school, so we're gonna start working on the possibly push students to. We're in good shape. It's not like we process it, but one more.
Right, thank you. Next item is item C, executive order number 2509, small electronic devices.
Yeah, so let me just say something before we start this, before the administrators take off, but I'd like them to stay through this. And I didn't look at the agenda, but before they take off, and I had it on my notes at the end, but I want to the board, thank the administrators for the last couple of weeks. They've really, really worked hard. And I joke, they've taken a lot of orders from me laying in bed. So they do well with that. But I'm feeling we have an administrator meeting tomorrow for a couple hours, then online and one on the 20th. But I feel that we're really prepared for the school year. I think today we confirmed up some openings we have for classified, but I think all teaching positions have been filled as of earlier this week. So I really appreciate the effort they put in. And I do feel good about the beginning of the school year as well as the week before when staff come back. I think it's going to be a good beginning of the school year. So I appreciate everybody's help with that. So as for the personal electronic device policy, so I'm going to go through some slides that the state defined this, but really what this comes down to is that the governor signed an executive order, I want to say at the end of June. The executive order is in the board packet. And really the difference for us is, the main difference for us is that her executive order states that cell phones will be put away from the beginning of the school day to the end of the day, which is fine for 3 of the schools, but is not what we've done at the high school. So we've allowed kids to take them out at breaks or as well as lunches. And the main reason we did that was from a logistical standpoint, there's very difficult to be able to hold people accountable when you have 400 or 500 kids walking around with phones and you probably have 4 or 5 adults walking around at lunchtime. But this is an executive order now, so we have to put that into place. I want to just quickly define some of the information in the executive order. So if we can go to the next page. And like I said, it was the start of regular school instructional hours to the end of the end of the day of the instructional hours. So that is from the beginning to the end, not out in between. School districts are required to adopt the policy no later than October 31st. With full implementation no later than January 1st, 2026. The OSBA, they were supposed to drop a policy at the beginning of this week. I haven't seen anything. I don't know if Marissa received something. I saw last week or the week before a glance of OSBA's policy that somebody put on a screen at a meeting, but I didn't get a chance to read it really well. So that's, and it's specific to electronic devices. So that'll be coming. One of the things we'll discuss tonight is like, do they wait till October 31st? Do they wait till January 1st, 2026 to implement from the beginning of the day to the end? Or do we wait, or do we do it now? And that's a discussion that we need to have tonight. The next slide defines personal electronic devices. In the law, it's making and receiving calls, text messages, accessing internet independently from school's network infrastructure. Commonly called a cell phone, which includes smartphones, flip phones, tablets, e-readers, smartwatches, and so on. So it's pretty much that, to me, unless the administrators know something different, pretty much is how we defined it going into this last school year. Next slide. We must at a minimum provide clarity on how devices will be stored during the school day. And I think that was pretty clear last year. And provide direction to school personnel regarding actions that may be taken when a student violates requirements wherein allowed actions may not authorize or otherwise result in students losing instructional time. It includes suspension or expulsion. So what they're saying is, for the act of using your cell phone, your schools are not supposed to discipline kids for using their cell phones and take kids out of instructional times. It's a little bit, I know other superintendents throughout the state are having a hard time, not that they don't believe that, but understanding how to do that. So next slide. These are potential exceptions. I think we've talked about these potential exceptions. Medical providers order for treatment of medical conditions. If a student's IEP or 504 or a written exemption provided to students based on guidelines adopted by the school district to allow administrators to accommodate individual circumstances. I don't know if we've received any of that third bullet there, but we do for the other two. Next slide real quick. Policy may exclude time when students are not on school grounds and are not under the supervision of school personnel other than a school bus driver. We need to clearly communicate where and when the policy is enforceable, including during field trips, extracurricular events, or while traveling to and from school. And then policies must be posted on the school district website and made available to school district personnel, students, parents, and guardians. And I've already had that conversation with Marissa. Once you do adopt the policy, which we don't have yet, on how we're going to disseminate that policy, as well as use numerous avenues of communication when the policy is adopted. And I've had conversations with administrators through email and a little bit in person about the district will provide the communication in general terms, but specifics will come from the buildings. And we have not started that yet based on this discussion. So key questions for tonight on the next slide. And I think Mr. Jackson can talk to some of these and get board input is, what are the current challenges related to the personal electronic devices in our schools based on the new law? How can we design a policy that is equitable, consistent, and realistic to implement? And like I said, I don't have that policy, but there is the act of whatever the policy states. And how does the policy align with other existing rules and state requirements? And how we would communicate rules and expectations across all the schools. So next steps, the next slide, sample policy should be available in August. We're waiting for it from OSBA concerning this executive order. And what's the most effective process and timeline for the high school to modify its current cell phone plan to comply with the executive order, and then any other pertinent information. So, Mr. Jackson, would you like to speak at all?
I do not have any prepared remarks. This is going to be more of a stream of thought and some feedback that I received. Timing wise, I met with other block league principals today, in which we were discussing a number of topics, but two of the main topics that did come up. One was artificial intelligence and how to navigate that, not only as a powerful tool in education, but also something that can foster academic dishonesty, and then personal electronic devices. There are a wide array of opinions with building level administrators in the state. One building administrator is almost to a point of defiance because of the concern that if they strictly adhere to Executive Order 2509, there are private schools that do not have to adhere to that order, and they are afraid of losing significant enrollment because of how that is rolled out. There are other administrators that I spoke to that are just concerned about, how do I implement this logistically? Most administrators that I've spoken to are very much on board philosophically with securing cell phones, personal electronic devices during academic time. The biggest challenge that most have faced, without additional funding coming in to purchase the equipment to effectively implement it or hire additional supervisory staff, it's difficult during unstructured yet supervised time, such as lunch for Astoria High School, the flex time that exists on Thursdays. So we are in the process of exploring how can we roll this out. Mr. Pappas told me to pause this before we go too far without having the board give us feedback and making sure that you are informed of what our vision could be. I do want you to know that one of my initiatives this year to elevate student voice is to have a principals executive council, which will consist of 15 students, 7 in ASB leadership and 8 at-large people, in which we will meet once a month, and we will pose questions, and they know the answers, and I'm going to listen to them. And one of the key things that we're going to talk about right out of the chutes is this cell phone policy. As such, I do not mean to get too far ahead of this discussion, but my initial proposal heading into this academic year is to maintain the academic cell phone use policy that we implemented last year at the high school, implement and establish a policy, excuse me, not implement, but establish a policy by October 31st, and then implement it by the January 1st, 2026 deadline. Again, as a review, that policy for us was cell phones and all electronic devices, personal electronic devices were to be silenced and secured in all academic times. And there's a corresponding set of consequences when that is not adhered to. This asks for more, but there are other steps that we would have to implement to do so during lunch, passing times during this flex time that we have. Talking about the equity, there is something that has come to my mind. Again, I want to be very clear. I believe the curtailment of cell phone or personal electronic device use in our adolescents is a positive outcome with mental health as well as with academic engagement. I think that is true. However, in less structured times, I have pondered when we talk about our equity lens. At Astoria High School, the campus is open for grades 10 through 12. So all students who have the ability to get in a car, leave campus, engage elsewhere, they are going to be accessing their phones as they leave campus. For our students who do not have that financial opportunity, they will be on campus. I'm concerned also that many of our young adults that are 16, 17, 18 years old that work, that have other obligations, whether that be family obligations with childcare of younger siblings, or with obligations of employment, that is not going to be accessible point. If we do implement it, maybe we'll have to have an area in which they can have those communications, those types of things to help them continue to meet those budding adult responsibilities that they have. So those are some pondering and musings that I have. We are certainly open to your feedback, but my overall proposal is to wait to change the implementation of policy until January 1st, 2026, to give us the time to establish a policy and then prepare for it and communicate it accurately. So what questions do you have for me at this time?
How did it get in middle school? So it's a middle school.
I'm just curious,
When
because you've got a whole group of people that are
And
coming in.
there is,
to high
the
school.
challenge is a bit different with the open campus.
Right.
Which I recognize. At the middle school, the children enter, the phones are away. They have a locker that's secured, they have the combo, it's theirs, that's where they go. Backpacks are left to go. They don't travel, with the exception of 7th period. If you're an 8th grader and you have a class downstairs, you're allowed to take your backpack and put it outside of Mr. Clark, Mr. Thompson's room. So otherwise, they're just stored in there. It's a non-issue. The older kids, the 7th and 8th graders that were used to being able to access their phone had a little more adjustment. My 6th graders, it seemed to go very well. I don't want to put the phones up, and we do have a phone zone. So there's a yellow pass that has a phone on it, that if a student needs to use their phone or a phone, because we have a student phone, the area that's identified as the attendance office, because there is supervision, students can go and access that with teacher permission. Because much like Mr. Jackson stated, we do have some students that are picking up siblings, that are getting, jobs, not so much, that are, I need you to grab your little brother or little sister and go to grandma's house today. I got called in, those kinds of things. So we did create a zone where kids could go and use their phone. The first week or two is a little challenging for a couple kids I had two families that were very, very angry about the policy, but we were able to work through it together. Had some very, I don't know, interesting conversation, but it worked well, and the relationship with those families grew stronger. We do have some kids with the accommodations, either in an IEP or a 504 plan or a medical plan, and those students have respected the school rules around, like they aren't using their phone for other purposes. So overall, it's really simplified all sorts of aspects of the school thing.
It is, like, I feel like taking advantage of that incoming class that's already become accustomed to that, and then, like, if I give them the freedom and then take it away again, I don't know, like, I don't know.
The incoming eighth graders are accustomed to not having their phones. And I've shared that with Mr. Jackson. I told them, oh, it's the same rules, but they it's not, right? I was like, no, it's the same.
Yeah.
No, it's not. My brother told me, so.
Yeah, no, they're smart.
Yeah, they're very
They,
smart.
they go to school.
So, and it's a different age group.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors that made this process a little simpler for me to implement at a 6-8 building versus a 9-12.
We have discussed the use of yonder pouches in the past. Principal Roberts this morning said the number he gave me, I think he just threw it out there, but he said about 8% of the yonder pouches are being utilized. But what it does is it really is a tangible tool that students know their phone is supposed to be out of sight. So the things that we have chewed on, initially the bid to purchase yonder pouches 612 would have been about $30,000. If the middle school has no need for those, it would be $18,000 approximately. I have been reflecting on, well, what if we purchased 50 of them for those who are repeat non-compliers of this expectation. So there are many things, and that's kind of my point, there are many things to flesh out as we move forward. I do hear you with that incoming freshman class, which is going to be the class that can't leave in its entirety, it can't leave to continue to run with that progress that they have made with the middle school last year. So
it makes me kind of sad for the progress that we made last year with just, they kind of took ownership of it. And so I feel like so much of this, like getting the pouches, and like until then we're spending money, I don't know. Yeah, these kids they had buy-in to it already, and so now we're like, I don't know, it's like being crammed down, and so now we're talking about having, possibly having to buy these things, and it's like, how do we still have that buy-in?
they talk about that a lot. ODE in the forum that I participated in talked a lot about school culture, buy-in of that. The message that I sent to staff this week with regards to what happened last year is I tweaked the classic phrase, we took 4 steps forward, and then at the end of the year, we kind of took a step back, but nevertheless, we were still 3 steps forward with regards to academic structured time and the use of cell phones. So I don't want to make this sound like we were not successful last year. We experienced a lot of success. We still need to refine it. But now we have an executive order where not only refinement, but also compliance is an element.
One of the things that we did that has been very successful with students, we said the youth offenders. The change at the middle school really did create an opportunity to do a lot of partnering with some families. We had at the end of the school year 9 students and we had to go through a process. There's a written process of like the morning, you get to get up at the end of the day, the parent contact, the parent pickup, where students turn their phone into the office, we secure it. Of those 9 kids, 4 self-selected. They knew it was too hard, that they would mess with it. Can I just give it to you? The other 5, that was come to agreement with the parents who were getting really tired of having to pick up. But it does, it gives you different opportunities to grow and work with some of our families. And challenges, but
So maybe that's something to look at, like helping them have options within the, the rule, like more choices, I guess you can embed in.
and I don't know, I mean, I'm not sure if developmentally it would be appropriate, but it's something we could obviously tweak, because one of the things that we have is a phone problem solving sheet of with repeat offenders. I mean, there's, you know, it's a progression of problem solving to try to tease out why. So the kids are thinking about it. And then that really helps steer the conversation when we are conversating with our parents. And again, we're talking about a handful of kids. This was not a great period of time or resource, or it was here and there. So
just having a space to use your cell phone, is that comply with the executive order?
Can we continue to have a cell phone?
my understanding is you can if it's under, if it's written into the procedures, and you have to have adult permission. Now, I will tell you, most of the kids that came down to the attendance office to contact home used the student phone, not their cell phone.
Mr. Hoppus.
The presentation that Mr. Mattson brought to the board, does something like that happen for students or parents?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, we had that presentation, I believe Tuesday of it was either orientation week or the Tuesday of the return of students. I can't remember. It was either the last week of August or first week of September last year.
And we did it a couple times, we did it virtually and we did do it in person. And then in open house orientation, we also offered the additional information reporting.
Are you planning on like presenting to the student body about the new executive order and asking for their feedback through your committee or?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That would be true. Mr. Mattson is presently adapting that slide deck, right? Updating that slide deck. That will be rolled out. I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do that. I believe the best venue, my preliminary thought, is through our advisories, smaller group conversations rather than me standing in front of 600 students. So that coupled with getting student feedback, I'm really excited about that executive committee concept because, and it's not just with cell phones, they've got all sorts of ideas on how to solve things. And they also have problems they want to have fixed that I may not be aware of.
Because that can create that buy-in that you're talking about, Jenna. Like if they have feel like they have some say in it.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It's actually, from Ms. Haig for the elementary school. I know right now, Gizmo watch type things are very, very popular. I'm just curious how you guys enforce that now. I'm curious with, right now, a lot of parents are concerned, they like to keep track of where their kid is and be able to get hold of them. I know the Gizmo is super important to a lot of those parents. So I'm curious if seems like a lot of kids, especially in your building, probably have Astoria as well, but those seem to be very popular.
Yeah, we had a few incidences with watches last year, and I spoke with parents. We asked the students to put them in backpacks, not to leave access, just like the phone. And if that didn't work, which it did, we didn't have it. What my next step is to have it stay in the office. So
If there was not problems, they were able to stay on their wrists, or if they needed to be back.
no, they did not stay on purpose.
Okay.
They
So pushback from them.
Not much. The incidences, there was one incident in particular where the student communicated with the parent. I didn't know the kid had the watch on, but the parent called the office to say, hey, my child just called me and said, I'm like, oh, really? So that's kind of where that went. But overall, that's part of our letter home. It's like smartwatches, part of personal devices that are not allowed, and they need to be in backpacks. They need to be not seen during school.
Thank you.
Mr. Hoppus, were there other things that you wish for us to address that we have not? You're muted. Muted, can't hear you, sir.
No, I was intrigued by the question. I think Heidi may have asked it around, like the middle school has that practice where the kid goes to the attendance office and makes a phone call. And so I was looking at the Q&A, and the Q&A is pretty vague. So I'll have to look into that further on what that actually means. So.
I don't think it impacts teachers really at all because we already have that expectation that phones are silenced and secured during all academic time. It would impact administration and some classified staff who are providing supervision during semi-structured times. There's 6 of us at any given lunch period that are moving about campus. And there's probably 250 to 300 students on campus at that time. So that supervisory challenge could be substantial.
And the other difference that Lynn faces is the middle school students are in the cafeteria and you report to the gym or recess or building. Whereas my understanding is your campus is open.
They can be in the hallway, they can be in the courtyard, they can be in the commons eating. So as developmentally appropriate, in my opinion, we afford them that freedom to move back.
There's some issues that have to be sort of figured out. There's more and more, and we start to do it now, and I'm sure like hospitals and other school districts do it, the two-party authentication for passwords, and that's going to be falling on students more and more. But they don't have their cell phones, so what can they do? So there's more to this that we need to figure out. But we will. I think there is some freedom. I think, and I'll double check, but I think there is some freedom. And I'll go back to the example, like at the middle school, to use your cell phone in the attendance office. I think there is some freedom around doing that. But my goal is to have the policy, a draft of the policy by next month. As soon as OSBA sends it, I'll bring it to the board for a discussion again.
All right, we will move on to the next item on the agenda, item 3D, English language learners and Oregon annual report.
Okay, so this is the annual report, and so the next slide explains why. It's part of Oregon statute that ODE has to report annually on the progress of English language learners in the state. And Title III federal programs requires that we present to the school for each goal. So here, the purpose is really just to describe the population of English learners in Oregon and just give you a summary of some of the progress that they're making in the ELT programs. And this is statewide, it's not specific to Astoria School District. The next slide. The full report is attached to your board report, but this is just kind of hits the highlights of the report. So we're looking at nearly 102,000 students in Oregon that are ever English learners, about 18.8%. Ever English learners just means at some point they were English learners. They may be current English learners. Right now we're at like 62,000. Some of them are former English learners, which means they were English learners, but now they're proficient. The state's looking at about 23,000, and then we have what are called monitored ELs, and that means they've exited the English language program, but they're just being monitored. We monitored for 4 years just to make sure they're still making good progress, and then they become former ELs. So all of those together make what we call ever English learners. We do have a large percentage of recent arrivals in Oregon. Recent arrivals are any students that have been in the U.S. for less than 3 years. We've seen an increase of 37% in the last year in Oregon. And we have seen a large percentage of increase in recent arrivals in Astoria as well. Typically, they're middle school, high school level students. They are mostly Spanish speaking, 78%. Spanish speaking, but there are in Oregon 247 unique home languages that are spoken. We do see statewide English learners are overrepresented in special education and underrepresented in TAG programs. And there's just some statistics there around 18% of current English learners are identified for special education compared to only 16.5% of what are called never ELs, meaning they have never been English learners. Even though they're a smaller percentage of students, they're a larger percentage of special education. That has been decreasing now. If you look at the numbers, it's gone down from 19% last year to 21% the year before. So we are, I think, getting better at identifying students so that we're not over-identifying those students. We do, in Oregon, only have 0.5% of current ELs that are in TAG. So that's definitely an area that we need to improve on. We do see young learners are more likely to be on track. So we take the LP every year, are they on track to English proficiency? Typically, younger students are more likely to be on track. You know, starting in kindergarten, they're learning the language earlier. You get those newcomers in later, and it's taking them longer to be proficient. So that's kind of what that number represents. Next slide. So we do see that current ELs, that's students who are currently in English language development programs, they're meeting state standards in ELA and math at substantially lower rates. We did see in the state former ELs, they outperformed never ELs in English language arts and math in grades 3 through 5. So that is, you know, promising that they're learning the language, they're becoming proficient, and then they are becoming proficient in ELA and math. And we did see gains for former ELs they seem to decrease over time, which the state says highlights the need for sustained supports. So they're becoming proficient in English language, but then they're starting to decline over time. So I did kind of highlight in the box the attendance rates because I know that's a priority for the board. State sees attendance rates are higher for former and monitored ELs, but lower for current ELs, particularly at the high school level. So that's kind of a focus area would be attendance with current students in English language programs. Next slide. So just a few promising key findings that were in the report. Statewide, former English learners enrolled in AP or IB courses or international baccalaureate courses. We don't have those here in Astoria, right? Statewide, enrolling in those courses at the highest rate, 22%, compared to never ELs enrolling only 8%. So to me, that's a promising finding. And then the majority of students that are earning the Oregon State Seal by literacy were ever ELs, 62%. And here in Astoria, we did have the highest number of students I've seen get the Oregon State Seal by literacy. Was it 12 this year?
That was our pioneer year, so,
Yeah.
but it exceeded what we had expected.
Yeah. And then the state is seeing that former English learners are graduating at slightly higher rates than never ELs, 87% compared to 82%. So we are seeing some good promising things happening around the state. And the last slide. Just if you have any questions, there is more detailed report if you're curious to see more explanation of things. But if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thanks.
Move on to item E, finance report.
The first thing I wanted to talk about was the finance committee for this next year. Wanted to get a couple of members secured for this next year. I had a recommendation, but it's really up to you guys. I thought maybe it would be beneficial for Tyler, and then I didn't know if Heidi wanted to be on it. So, but we do have other, that's just.
It's been a while for me, so I could do it.
Maybe have it.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you. I will get back with you about September. The finance report is the last one that you'll see for June 30th, 2025 until the audit's done. It's very preliminary. We're still receiving information and I still have journal entries to do, and then the auditors still need to go. Next month will be the first one for 25-26. And grants still this year are all over the place in whether we're getting them, not getting them, they're twice as much, they're less. So I'm hoping that next month I'll have a more definite on where our grants end up. I did hear that they are working on high school success and SIA. They just started working on it, and we're promised by the end of this month we'll have those numbers. And then we've got word that we are receiving our title funds, all of them, including 2A for this next year. Are there any questions? Okay.
And for item 2, so we move on to item 5, which is information. Moving on to item 6, new business. 6A, resolution 2025-2026-001, expressing the continued support for the Tongue Point Job Corps Center.
Yeah, so just a couple things. The collaboration on this has been great. Our executive order that we have is the same executive order, excuse me, not executive, I'm stuck on executive orders. Our resolution, the same resolution, the exact same wording has been put up in front of numerous boards, including the city, the county, the chamber. We sort of come together and had a couple of meetings to say, what can we do to support Tongue Point? I will also share with you on August 7th, I had a conversation with Mac McGoldrick, who's the center director at Tongue Point, and he, based on that conversation, sent us an email. And just a quick tidbit, his wife's a kindergarten teacher in our district. But, you know, they've been sort of under the gun for about 2 months. So I asked him for an update as to where they're at, and he provided that update in an email. I think I forwarded that to the district, but they have lost kids because they didn't think they were going to be open. They've lost staff, but they're starting to build back up. I think there's their next worry timeline is in June of 2026, when their budget has to be reapproved by Congress, or however that works. So, but I can tell you that Mac, as well as the rest of the Tongue Point staff, really appreciate all the support they've received within their community. And along with this letter that's in front of the resolution, we all, as community partners, create a list of who we're going to send this resolution to, and it includes state politicians, federal politicians. I haven't looked at the list in the last week, but we've had a shared document going around, but it's probably 12 to 15 different individual or offices within the federal or state government. So.
This is an action item. Oh, too much in there. I gotta read. We gotta read it first. Go ahead.
Resolution 25-26-001, a resolution expressing continued support for the Tongue Point Job Corps Center and recognizing its vital role in workforce development and community impact. Whereas the Tongue Point Job Corps Center, located in Astoria, Clatsop County, Oregon, has served as a critical institution for workforce training and youth development since 1964. And whereas the center provides free education and career technical training to young people ages 16 through 24, equipping them with the skills necessary to succeed in a variety of industries, including maritime trades, welding, automotive, construction, and healthcare. And whereas the Tongue Point Job Corps Center not only enhances the lives of its students, but also contributes to the economic vitality of the Astoria area by providing employment, generating over $16 million in economic impact, supporting local businesses and partnering with community organizations. And whereas the city of Astoria recognizes the importance of the Job Corps program in offering life-changing opportunities to underserved and economically disadvantaged youth across diverse communities. And whereas continued federal investment in Job Corps programs, including the Ton Point Job Corps Center, is essential to maintaining and expanding these services, especially in rural and coastal communities. And whereas the loss of this institution would disproportionately impact at-risk youth, local employers who rely on skilled graduates, and the broader community that benefits from its services, now therefore the Astoria School District Board of Directors does hereby resolve, Section 1, the Astoria School Board hereby expresses its strong support for the Tongue Point Job Corps Center and affirms the center's contributions to the community, workforce development, and youth empowerment. Section 2, the Astoria School Board urges state and federal leaders to continue and expand support for the Job Corps program and to recognize the Tongue Point Job Corps Center as a vital component of our region's education and economic infrastructure. Section 3, a copy of this resolution shall be transmitted to the offices of Oregon's congressional delegation and the U.S. Department of Labor. Section 4, effective date, the provisions of this resolution shall be effective August 13, 2020.
All right, and this is an action item.
I move to approve resolution 2025-2026-001, expressing continued support for the Tongue Point Job Corps Center.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Item B is intergovernmental agreement between the Astoria School District and the City of Astoria.
Yeah, so for the past year or so, we've been working closely with.
Greg, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tyler.
Yep, on the intergovernmental agreement, I believe that there's a potential conflict of interest because I'm a member of the leadership team with the Parks Department. So I'll be recusing myself and I will step outside while you guys deliberate and vote.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler.
Okay, you're good, Greg.
Okay, thank you. You know, we've always had an agreement. We've always had a working relationship and agreement between the city and the district on use of fields and gyms ever since way before I even started here. In fact, it goes back previous to Willis Van Dusen mayorship. What we're finding is there's more and more needs for the use of our facilities. So we've gotten together a couple of times over the last year and really put some things down on paper so we have a good understanding of the different facilities, whether it's indoor or outdoors, and what entities need to be able to run those and make them effective. So I know Jonah, who's head of Parks and Recs, is in the office, or excuse me, is in the meeting tonight. If anybody has any questions for Jonah. Jonah, can I just ask, where is the city with this intergovernmental agreement? Has the city council approved it yet?
No, so I'm Jonah McLean. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for the City of Astoria. Our intent is to have this go before you as a school board and consider this item, hopefully approve it, and then it would go to our city council this coming Monday evening at their regular meeting.
That's all I have. It's just
All right, this is an action item.
I'll move to approve the intergovernmental agreement between Astoria School District and the City of Astoria.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right. Thank you.
Tyler, send Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, items C through H are first readings. Any questions on those? All right, we will move on to item 7. Comments for the good of the order. All right, Greg.
Yeah, just a couple things. I know it's been a little bit longer of a meeting. I know Stephanie mentioned it, but I've been really impressed with summer school. I was able to spend quite a bit of time there for the first couple weeks, and probably have over 120 kids. And it was fun to watch them. There's a lot of learning going on, but there's a lot of hands-on engagement stuff going on, so that was great. I did have the opportunity to thank the administrators before they left. And the last thing is that I read a statement, but I do appreciate that people came to the meeting and spoke tonight. And like I said, I take that to heart. And I said it was very difficult, and I didn't expect it to get to the board level. And I'm dealing with some things associated with that. So thank you. That's all I have. And I would also say great job to Maritza for her first real meeting. The July one is a meeting, but not real meeting. So good job tonight.
Thanks, Greg. All right, Cindy?
I don't have nothing else.
No? We'll move on to the board. Jenna?
Yeah, I should have taken just a moment earlier to thank the students for, there's always hindsight 2020, you know, we can't legally talk about personnel matters, but sometimes I think it's just important to acknowledge the students, and it takes a lot of bravery just to come and speak in front of a public setting like that and to us. So I don't know if there's a way you can reach out to them and just thank them for coming and sharing, you know, being able to. Anyway, it was just, otherwise, I mean, I just feel like the time is flying by. I'm prepared for school to start again, personally. It just seems like the summer's gone by so fast. And, but I've enjoyed the conversations with the homeschool families and groups that I've had, and I don't know, just gaining more understanding. That's all I have.
I just want to say this summer has been a really good showing of our district and the community. It was awesome at the Cook Fair and see all the students today, as well as at Scandinavian Festival. Student athletes were helping with parking, which was really awesome. Great showing at the regatta parade, softball team, dance program was very cool to watch. Also, I believe it was the football team, but Coach Rube was doing a lot of it. Mr. England's funeral, they helped with all the parking there, which was great. He's obviously a monumental figure in our community. And then the last thing I want to say was, I really appreciate listening to everybody today. The public comments, there were some things thrown out there, and I just want to say that I've known school administration for a very long time as a student and as a professional, and I do believe that they are always thinking about what's best for students when they make their decisions. And I appreciate all their hard work dealing with this difficult situation. So especially you, Craig, thank you for working through that.
Heidi?
I don't have anything tonight. I'm passing.
Great.
I also appreciate all the comments and echo what you said, Jenna, the bravery of the students. I appreciate them taking time to really write down their thoughts and then come to the board meetings. I know that that's intimidating. They were very well spoken, passionate, and I appreciate that. And it is a tough situation. And yeah, that's really cool.
Well, I will just echo everything everybody else said. I agree. There's a lot for the family, so they're passionate, they care, and just want to be heard. So thanks to them, and thanks to our maintenance for keeping the schools running and ready to rock and roll. Summer has flown by. My son went to summer school too. As a high schooler. And I will say, Ms. Colesville she's pretty awesome. You know, just want to shout out to her. So anyways, always keeping me in the loop of things. So anyways, that's pretty much it. With that, future meetings, we have Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 5:45 for our board study session here in the boardroom. And then same day at 7 o'clock for our regular board meeting. Take a motion to adjourn tonight.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Grace can second.
Like,